to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm back. I had a little break unintentionally. I just had like a weird funny few months, stressful few months, rubbish few months with just not like a lot going on to vlog, and I wasn't really buying clothes or anything, so just like lost my flow with it a bit. And yeah, working full time and doing YouTube videos, it's hard. But there aren't enough hours in the day, and editing on my little phone on iMovie just takes forever. So had a weird few months, but I'm back. I want to start doing videos again because I do love it. It just takes me forever. So I'm gonna get my diary out. I'm gonna get planning some like cute autumn, winter, Christmassy videos. And yeah, hopefully it should be cute. But yeah, I'm sure literally no one cared, no one noticed that I had a break. But I'm back with a new video, so woohoo. I'm gonna stop rambling. As you can probably tell by the title of the video, it's a little bit of a different one. So far I've just done like fashion, vloggy type videos, but I love watching these kind of videos, and I just want my YouTube to be kind of a bit of everything. Like I just want to create videos that I myself like watching, so hopefully this is enjoyable for some of you. So I'm gonna do a kind of rundown of like, I've got 10 books that I think just everyone should read, 10 great books. So yeah, hopefully some of these books maybe you've read or you're going to read, and I hope you like today's video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, all of that. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first book is Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. I'm sure you've probably seen this book, heard about this book. It's one of those viral books, and I've got a couple of these like viral books that you kind of see everywhere in my little collection of 10. I'm always a bit wary when it comes to viral books because I'm like, oh, am I going to be disappointed? Like, is it worth the hype? This is definitely worth the hype, and it's the kind of book that I just think I'm going to keep this forever. I'm going to keep rereading it because it's a very like, you can dip in and out of it. It's not like a fiction book where you need to like read it from front to back. It's just, oh, it's so good. I can't tell you like how amazing this book is. It's like anything you're going through, anything you feel, you can read something in this book and genuinely you'll feel like so much better about it. You'll see things from a different point of view. You'll just feel like a bit of a weight off your shoulders, and you'll just be like, okay, I'm ready to like tackle that situation, or I feel slightly better about that. I reach for this book when I feel stressed, when I feel sad, when I'm down about something, when I feel like, oh, am I being a bit of a bitch? Like, oh yeah, this is an amazing book. Whether you're a reader or not, like it's very just like, it's very light, and it's very just nice that these kind of pages break it up a bit. It's just an amazing book. You don't have to be like a really big reader to kind of read this book, because it is just kind of a self-help like little thing that you just reach for. As I said, I reach for it a lot. I get stressed a lot. I just genuinely, this book, I don't want to say like this book changed my life, but it's a very good kind of, you read it and you feel different about things, and like you feel more positive, or like you kind of take something away from it. 100%, it's an amazing book. Definitely. Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. Incredible little book. Book number 2, Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. This is I found this a very emotional book. If you're like me and you're a bit like emotionally unstable, this book is quite emotional and like sad and intense. I'm pretty sure it says it somewhere. It's like a bitter, yeah, Out of Love is a bittersweet romance told in reverse. So basically the start of the book is them breaking up, and then the end of the book is them meeting each other. So it's a real kind of, you get to the end of the book, you're like, oh, it's so like, it's so lovely the way they met, and it's so romantic, and it's all looking really good, but you know in your head like, oh, I already know that they're gonna break up. So it's really, really like, I don't know, I just found it really sad. The main character, you never actually find out her name, unless I've literally missed it, but I'm pretty sure I looked online and she just doesn't have a name. She just like isn't given a name, which really bugged me the whole way through, because I was just like, oh, I just want to know your name. But anyway, so she doesn't have a name, but she's in a relationship with a boy called Theo. They like live together, they're kind of in like a grown-up relationship. They kind of go through like ups and downs with their careers and where they're living with like his mum, or like they're living in like a house owned by like his family. So it's like really difficult, and it causes tension and stuff. So it's a real like grown-up relationship kind of book, like the ins and outs of relationships, I guess. It does have a quite confusing factor about it because it's told in reverse, so you almost have to like read a chapter and then forget about it and kind of pretend you don't know that, because otherwise the next chapter doesn't really make sense. So yeah, Out of Love, Hazel Hayes. I also fangirled because I put this on my Instagram story and she reshared it to her story. So yeah, Hazel, if you're watching. But yeah, Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. Really emotional, like sad book, but very good. So the next book is What a Time to Be Alone by Chidera Egeru, I think it's how you say it, better known online as The Slumflower. I got given this as a gift as well. People obviously think I need self-help books. Kind of like the Good Vibes, Good Life one. It's a really good book, A, for a gift, but B, just to kind of have to like flick through. You can just kind of flick in and out of it. You can just read it on like a Sunday afternoon when you're feeling a bit rubbish. Even just like flicking through the pages when it's so creative, like it just makes you feel, I don't know, I just love like colourful creative things. It just makes me feel really happy. It's just an incredible book. It's just about kind of everything. Like it's about self-love, knowing your worth, like keeping your standards high, respecting yourself, not letting people like take your energy away from you. Even if you're not like super kind of into like the whole self-help book and this kind of thing, like it's just, I just feel like it makes you feel a bit more positive maybe when you need a bit of a helping hand sometimes. Buy this for your friends. This is incredible. Also the Slumflower on Instagram, go follow her, this is her. She's very cool. So the next book is one of my all-time favourite books. It's Our Stop by Laura Jane Williams. If you're like me and you believe in the whole like everything happens for a reason, like if it's meant to be it will be, like oh my god it's fate, like that was supposed to happen, like this is a book for you, I promise you. And if you like rom-coms, even better. So it's basically about two people that they work in London and they get on the tube every day. One day they get on the tube and they see each other and they instantly like, they fancy each other, they like the look of each other, they get off the tube without saying a word to each other. They get off at separate stops, but they keep thinking about each other and it's almost like love at first sight. So it's like, well, how do you find some random person that you met on the tube? I think what she talks about is kind of like the metro on the tube, like a newspaper type thing. And in that newspaper, there's a section where you can kind of anonymously write to someone. So they write a little note in this anonymous bit. I think it's him that writes it first. So he put something like, woman in the red coat on the 7:30 tube this morning. He writes something like that to kind of reach out to her in the hopes that she'll see it. Obviously it's like such a slim chance, but whilst he's thinking, oh, I'm gonna write something in the paper, her friends are also saying, you should write something in the paper. So then they both start looking at the papers and then she sees his note and she writes a note back. Cut a long story short, people suddenly start to read these little notes that they're sending to each other and it becomes a bit of a talking point, and people all around London are saying, oh my god, have you read, like, she said this to him and he said this. It's like a modern day romance story. That's what this book is. It's like so romantic that someone would go to such great lengths to try and find you and try and talk to you. So yeah, it's just such a lovely book. It's like a real, as I said, if you're into the whole like, oh, everything happens for a reason, blah blah blah, if you're like that, then you'll love this book. And it's proper like romantic story, very like dreamy and cool. What's also funny is there's like a few surprises along the way where they get set up on a blind date. So Nadia goes to this blind date and she actually gets stood up, like the date doesn't arrive. And what's funny is that date was supposed to be Daniel, but he didn't want to go on a blind date because he was thinking about Nadia the whole time. So he didn't turn up, and if he had just turned up, he would have met Nadia. And then they find out and it's all like an amazing, oh, I just love it. I get so excited talking about this book. But yeah, highly recommend Our Stop by Laura Jane Williams. Just, oh, such a great book, like so good. So the next book is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. It was a very popular book when it came out. I loved it. This is again like Our Stop, like literally one of my favourite books of all time. I tell everyone to read it. It's about a flat share. So the main character Tiffy, she goes through a bit of a breakup and then she needs to move out, so she finds this flat share. And the boy who owns the flat is called Leon, and he puts the flat on the market and says, I'm looking for a flat share. I work nights, so all night the flat will be empty, and then in the day I'll be in the flat. Tiffy comes along and says, oh, like brilliant, I've got like a normal day job, like 9 to 5, so I'll be in the flat in the night time, but I won't be in the daytime. So basically she moves in and they never cross paths because of their different lives and the way that they work different shifts. So they only communicate through little like post-its that they put on the fridge. So the notes get kind of more and more chatty, more and more friendly, more and more flirty, and they eventually meet and then obviously like kind of fall in love and they kind of get together, but it's complicated because they don't really see each other ever. There are a lot of complications, like Tiffy has quite an obsessive, like weird ex-boyfriend Leon has a brother in prison that he's trying to get out of prison because he didn't do the crime, by the way. He's not just trying to break him out of prison. It's a really, really good story. It's really nice to read. Like, the characters are really cool as well. There's quite a lot of characters. Their friends are funny. Yeah, just, I love this book. Classic rom-com kind of vibes, but I'm excited to read Beth O'Leary's other books. Since I read this, I haven't actually read her other books that she's brought out since then because she brings them out so fast. I don't know how she's got time, but anyway, amazing book. Flat Share, Beth O'Leary. So the next book is kind of, I feel like a bit of a rogue one. Why Social Media is Ruining Your Life by Catherine Ormerod, I think that's how you say it. I read this when I was at uni, so I did fashion marketing at uni. I read this and I got this for like the essay that I was writing. It's one of the best, like I feel like everyone should read this book. It focuses on different chapters. So there's why social media is ruining your body image, your health, your identity, relationships, why it's ruining motherhood, ruining your career and money and stuff like that. It goes into every single aspect of your life and how social media is ruining that. Even though I do like I love YouTube, which I guess is social media platform. I love Instagram. I also hugely see like the negatives of it, and I have a lot of days where I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to go on that today. I can't be on social media because I feel like rubbish about myself or whatever. I don't know, I guess if you're not into this kind of thing, it's kind of like reading a textbook. It's not hugely in-depth, it's just very, very like, it's interesting, that's what it is. Just really cool, the things that she says about and the things that she points out that you probably haven't even thought of yourself. Like this thing, like you must love yourself to post that, like how when you post something on social media you sort of put a certain statement out there about yourself, when actually like I always feel like that. I put up a picture and I'm like, oh my god, like cringe, like I hate myself. And it's like in that like split moment I liked that picture enough to post it, and now I've posted it, I'm suddenly like like I don't want people to think that I like that picture. It's just like a real like mental mess up, I feel like, social media. I just think everyone should read it. Everyone should become aware of the things that she's talking about, I guess, and how social media does sort of ruin your perception of things and your body image and like relationships between people, I guess. So yeah, why social media is ruining your life. Catherine Ormerod, amazing, highly recommend. So the next book, I'm so excited. The next book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I've only finished reading this week. This now is in my top 5 books of all time. I don't even know where to begin with this book. It's so amazing. Again, it's kind of like one of those viral books, like it was everywhere, everyone was buying it, everyone was talking about it, and you're always a bit worried like, oh, is it going to be a bit rubbish? Is it not going to live up to the hype? This definitely lives up to the hype. So essentially this book dives into the whole like concept of every single decision that you make in your life really alters the journey that you'll end up on, no matter how big like or small that decision is. So from page 1 in this book, you're kind of thrown in at the deep end into this girl's story. So the main character, Nora, she is hugely depressed. She has like she's been through it in her life, like a lot of things have happened. She has a lot of regrets, she's just not happy at all. So the first like 20 pages of the book, we see like the last 24 hours of her life before she decides to kill herself. She then gets to a point where she's kind of cut all ties, like she has lost her job, so that doesn't matter anymore. Old man next door says, oh, don't worry about picking up my tablets anymore, like I've got someone else to do it. She almost like, she cuts all ties so that if she kills herself, no one's gonna notice or care. So she kind of feels like she's finally like free to kill herself because she doesn't have any ties. So she kills herself and she then wakes up in the Midnight Library. I think it's like a place where she's like unconscious. The librarian says to her, the Midnight Library is a place between life and death. She's not actually fully dead yet, but she's also not alive. The Midnight Library is somewhere where every single book is an alternate version of her life. She walks in and the librarian says, look at this book, and it's called the Book of Regrets, and it's every single thing, like huge regrets or tiny regrets. So she reads this Book of Regrets, and based on the Book of Regrets she then says, oh yeah, I really do regret that. I wish I could go back and fix that or change that. So like one of her regrets is she was engaged to be married to this man. She cancelled the wedding, she like ran out of the wedding and didn't marry him basically. And all her life, all her like root life, her normal life, she's regretted that decision, and she's really looked back and said, oh, I've ruined my life by not marrying him, like I could have had such a nice family life and I would have been happy with him and blah blah blah. The librarian says to her, okay, so take out this book, open this book, and you'll go into that life where you married that boy. She goes into life and she realises, oh actually he's an alcoholic and he doesn't treat me very nicely, and he cheats on me and he doesn't want kids and stuff like that. So she realises, oh actually I've regretted that my whole life, but if that was my life, if I had have married him, I would have been really unhappy. So then she comes back into the library, she then wipes that regret off of her list, so then she has like one less regret. It continues and it continues, and she keeps going into different lives where she kind of goes back and almost like fixes everything that she thought was bad in her head. It's just, oh, it's just so cool. Like, it's so cleverly written. Genuinely, like, I can't recommend this book enough. I'm now that annoying person that goes around like, oh my god, you should totally read it, like, do you want to borrow my copy? So good. And it's not the kind of book that I usually read. Like, it's not at all a rom-com or like self-help. It's just incredible, and it just works off that kind of concept of maybe try not to regret things in your life, because grass isn't always greener. So yeah, Midnight Library, Matt Haig, incredible book. So the next book is 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Wiest, I'm not sure. This is incredible. Again, kind of like the Good Vibes, Good Life book and What a Time to Be Alone. It's very like you can dip in and out of it, and I know that I'm going to keep this book forever and just keep coming back to it, and it's just such a good book to kind of just have on your bookshelf, chilling there whenever you need it. So helpful. There's anything you could think of, anything you're struggling with, there'll be something in here to read about. 102 Ways to Not Let Irrational Thoughts Ruin Your Life. I've read that quite a few times. The little things you don't realise are affecting how you feel about your body. It's just really good. Again, like, such a good gift for your friends. And yeah, just 100% like worth the money, worth the hype. I really enjoy reading it as well. Like, I enjoy reading kind of someone else talking about their life and talking about what they think about certain things. I just think everyone should read these kind of books. I find these books really helpful, and I really like rely on them. Like, I feel like I just need them in my life to like help me along and like hold my hand through certain situations. So yeah, 100% recommend. So the next book is a bit of a rom-com again. It's Match Me If You Can by Michelle Gorman. It's about three best friends, Catherine, Rachel and Sarah. They're all kind of like single women living in London. They live together and they're just best friends, and every single chapter is written, again like the Our Stop one. Like, chapter 1 is written by Catherine, chapter 2 written by Sarah, chapter 3 written by Rachel. And basically what happens is Catherine sets up a dating site, and she gets all of her friends to join it, and basically they can rate their ex-boyfriends so that other women can find those ratings and decide whether they want to date that man or not. It's just really like, it's just really enjoyable to read. It's quite funny at parts, and then they end up actually like meeting Mr. Right on this website through like other people's ratings. And it's really this isn't like a hugely like, it's not hugely like, oh my god, this is such an amazing book, you have to read it. It's just so like funny and light-hearted. I really enjoy it. Just a classic like chick flick kind of book. It's about kind of finding Mr. Right, but not the kind of normal way, I guess. So the next book is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I'm laughing because this is such a viral kind of classic book. I feel like everyone I know has read this book, knows about this book. I was really skeptical about it because I didn't know who Dolly Alderton was. Like, I feel like everyone else knows her and I wasn't really aware of like who she was. And I just didn't really get it at first. Like, I read it and I was just like, I just feel like I'm reading her diary. But then like, I look back at it and I think actually like that was a really cool book to read, because she kind of goes into, even though it's called Everything I Know About Love, she scribbled out like dates, jobs, friends, life, blah blah blah. She does different chapters, like Everything I Know About Love at 25, Everything I Know About Love at 21, and she writes it from like that perspective when she was 21, like what she would have known. She does dating stories, she does friendship stories, she does like stories where she's like found herself. Like, she kind of just tells really interesting stories about her life and like what she's learned about love, dating, relationships, friendships, careers. I know it's a real like classic. I feel like everyone's read it, everyone's talking about it, but definitely like it is kind of worth the hype. It's the kind of book like every girl should probably read it, because it's just really helpful and it's nice to know kind of different stories and lessons from other women, I guess. So yeah. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got some reading inspo. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below if there's any books that you think I should read. Any of your favourite books, let me know, comments below. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Please comment, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.